welcome to Haven't Heard, a special 3-person episode. Red leader standing by.
Green leader standing by.
White leader standing by.
All right, we're doing Pixies, also known as the Pixies. Surfer Rosa.
Pixies, the.
Yes. Released March 21st, 1988. Certified gold.
Yeah,
I can already detect disappointment with that assessment.
Yep.
It was the follow-up to their debut EP/mini LP, Come On Pilgrim, which introduced the world to the wonderful, wonderful music of Pixies.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting that would you say, because I don't really know very much about them, would you say that this is their most popular album?
I would say this is probably one of their defining album.
Okay, maybe that's a better way to put it. It's like, generally it's really hard for bands to do a good sophomoric album, like a second album, because they do all their really good stuff in the beginning, and then it's hard to catch lightning in a bottle. But it seems like this is a role reversal for them.
They definitely caught lightning in a bottle.
Twice?
And then shook it up and spewed it out of Black Francis's mouth.
Okay.
That is the name he goes by in the Pixies, or Pixies, is Black Francis.
Huh.
He also goes by Frank Black, or his God-given name, Charles Michael Kittredge Thompson IV.
All right, so I think maybe Andrew and I should come up with the backstory, because Andrew, we don't know why they call him Black Francis, is that right?
Yeah.
That is correct.
All right, we should come up with a backstory, what we think it is, and then Adrian, you should tell us if it's right or not, or who's closer.
It sounds very piratey. Perhaps some time on the high seas.
Okay, I could go for that. Black Francis. I bet he was like the only white guy in his school that had either a flat top or like a Jufro.
Oh.
And so they're like, oh man, look at Black Francis.
Or am I supposed to tell you what's true?
Yeah, sure.
I have no idea why he was called that.
All
that good stories, guys.
Nothing.
Yep.
Oh, the
really
Enlightenment.
Well, Adrian, what do you think his name is? Black Francis?
I don't care. All right, so just so you know the pedigree of this band, Joey Santiago, their other guitarist, their lead guitarist, went on to form the Martinis and various other projects. Kim Deal, their bassist and occasional vocalist, is guitar for The Breeders, which is, if you didn't know, a platinum-selling band, and also is in The Amps. David Lovering is also in the... Oh, by the way, he's on drums, in case you couldn't use the process of elimination. He is also part of the Martinis. He has played with Cracker, and he also had a Magic career.
Wow.
I don't know if I were the manager at Bon Marché and he came in with that resume, like, I've done Magic and I played with Cracker. Like, I'd be like, Uncle Cracker? And then I would probably not hire him.
I'm sure that in some way you could twist that to be racist.
Oh, with Black Francis in the band? No way.
Oh, yeah. Not only that, but he also changed his name after the Pixies to Frank Black, or at least changed his stage name, and formed Frank Black and the Catholics.
Oh, okay.
Well, that took a turn.
So, guys, these are legit people here.
Where are they from? Are they British?
No.
Oh.
I think they're from northeast somewhere. I think I read Boston.
Oh boy, guys. All right, let's play more guessing game.
Oh wait. Yeah. Boston, Massachusetts.
All right. So that sucks because you were doing actual research.
Well, I mean, I think Andrew nailed it already, so.
Good job, Andrew. Pat on the back.
Yeah.
First timer.
Oh boy.
First timer, long timer. All right. Well, guys, I chose this album and this band because This is the moment that I was truly introduced to noisy ass music, which then blossomed into the, more aggressive sound that I seek out today. But this is where the noise started.
Yes.
So this defines me as a player and a listener.
Hold on, spell player. P-L-A-Y-E-R.
Okay, sorry guys.
P-L-A-Y-A.
This defines me as a playa and musician.
Oh, okay.
Also, this album, I am speaking like a fucking robot. Also, this album was introduced to me by Uncle Figure. Uncle Figure used this music to bond.
How old were you when you heard it?
Right around 13 or 14.
How specific, like, of a memory do you have? Like, can you pinpoint exactly where you were in, like, the circumstances in which you heard this music?
I was probably at my uncle's house. Shout out to Barry. And he burned me the CD.
The early days of digital piracy.
Yep.
He burned me the CD on a Macintosh computer.
Wow. An Apple Mac? Did it have... Remember that game? Did you guys go to schools where they had Macs for all the kids, and at recess you play that game Space Station Theta, where you're like on a little 2D thing and you run around and jump all over, and like you have to put springs on places where you can jump up and down and shit? Oh boy.
Nope.
The looks on your faces says this is not going well.
I remember that drawing program that everyone was obsessed with, like Pick something.
Doesn't ring a bell.
All right, well, moving right along then.
Yes, please.
Well, guys, you can talk.
I saw the cover of this album, and this would have been an album that I would not have been allowed to have in my house, just because it has a topless lady on the front, which, as a tween, I would have loved to see this album, and maybe loved to see the album, not as much as hear it, but my parents are pretty strict on that kind of stuff. Definitely wouldn't have been allowed in the house, unless it was like a National Geographic, let's go and take photos of some sub-Saharan tribe where nobody wears clothes. We're digging deep. We're like 8 minutes in. We're digging deep.
All right, Andrew, you want to grab a shovel?
Oh, man. This album, I feel, was like the musical epitome of the phrase, I do what I want. Because it was just all over the place. Like, I felt like in some parts I was kind of rocking out to it, and then like a second later I'd just be laughing, like, what the crap is going on?
I kind of felt like that's a good way to put it. And maybe I just hadn't articulated that in my own mind. I felt like it was the kind of thing where if I were walking through some like kind of like upper middle class suburb and there was some like either like community college or like first year college kids that had a band in a garage, you'd hear this kind of music through the garage door and you'd be like, oh man, these guys aren't so bad. And then like you walk just a half a block more and be like, oh, this is garbage. Like these guys suck. I mean,
oh, okay, I'm going to defend this album now. Is that what's happening?
Well, I don't know. I mean, like, there were songs that I was like, okay, like, I can get behind this. And then there were songs that, like, I cannot get behind this at all.
Well, speaking of songs, should we get into the songs?
Probably. Because there aren't a ton.
No, there's 13.
Yeah. For coming out in 1988, it kind of feels like it's way ahead of its time, to be honest. It's almost like it's come back into... This is... All right, Adrian, this is going to be rough. So I hope you're sitting down and and have 911 on speed dial, because this could hurt.
I'm always sitting down.
Okay. I feel like at the time it was probably really edgy and like, ahead of its time. But now I feel like it's hipster. But when you were introduced to it, it wasn't introduced to you in that sense. I feel like I could go to some shitty downtown Bellingham bar and hear this kind of stuff, and people be like, oh man, this is like what's the one, Oh Golly. Like, I feel like I could hear that song in some shitty downtown Bellingham bar and just be like, oh, let's move on to the next bar.
I felt that way about, which one? Broken Face.
Yeah. But then on the other hand, like, my favorite song from the whole album was Gigantic, and then seconded was Where's My Mind? And I was like, if I were in a bar and I heard those and they were done well, I'd be like, oh, this is pretty good. Like, I'll check these guys out. We'll have a couple drinks here.
So you picked the only single off the album, which was Gigantic.
Yeah.
And then the only other I think the only other song that's really spun around is Where's My Mind?
Yeah. All the ones that Kim Deal sang lead on, I was like, all right, I can get behind these. All the ones that Frank Black, Francis the Black, whatever, I was like, ooh, okay, I see where you're going here, but
All right, well, let's get into it then. Bone Machine.
I actually really like this song. The intro, most of all, how it kind of like layers itself in and just kind of gets rocking right off the beat. I like that, and then it gets weird.
At which point does it get weird?
Once he starts singing,
nailed it.
My big point for this song was that I did on my notes write insanity lyrics. So yeah, guys, I share same points of view as you. Just the appreciation for those points of view differs.
I feel like it was a good opening track though for the album.
Well, I mean, it tells you what you are in for.
Yeah, I normally, when we've done these previously, I kind of waited for my like overall feel for the album till the end of the episode. But I didn't hate it. It's not something that I would put on immediately. Like I definitely respect their process, and I respect their influence in music culture. But it's not something that I'm like, you gotta have like a vinyl copy and, you know, have the posters on the wall and want to show everybody kind of thing.
Okay, noted.
Yeah.
We've previously had acknowledged that some of the previous stuff we'd done had difficulty with dynamics.
Mm-hmm.
This band has no problem with dynamics.
I agree. Which, that totally helps. And like in a, you know, like in a studio recording, like it's not that they just did the faders. It was like, there's definitely like intensity changes too.
Yeah, I feel like there was a lot on the recording side of this where they might have gotten pretty creative and not just been, you know, in the studio and tracking it and then adding, you know, effects later on. I feel like they might have got a little more dynamic in the studio to produce genuine dynamics on the record.
Yeah.
Wow, that was very educated sounding.
They got loud and then they got quiet. And then
a
loud
couple
again.
Fun facts then. Obviously, you could tell this album had a lasting effect on grunge and alternative rock. Also, fun fact, the engineer Steve Albini was also the engineer for In Utero.
Yeah, I saw that.
Nice.
Requested specifically because he worked on this album.
Could we take a step back to, you said that this is like the in the family tree of alternative rock, this is like a grandparent. So if you could go back in history, we could say we could not release this album and then forego things like Nickelback and Creed.
That seems false.
All right, I want to hear you defend it.
In the spirit of this album being a grandparent, it's kind of like now you can listen to it and say, "Oh, Grandpa, what the hell are you doing?"
Yeah, I mean, if you think Operation Ivy is like a grandparent for ska punk, I bet you could find a lot of bastard children that you didn't want in that family tree. Or
yeah,
Harry Belafonte.
Here's looking at you, Blink 182.
Wow! Whoa! Shots fired!
Pew
pew pew pew pew.
All right, number 2, Break My Body.
A lot of broken songs in this.
Yeah, and he's clearly obsessed with the insides of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that. It's kind of borderline creepy.
All right, so nothing special about the song?
Yeah, at this point I kind of settled in. I was like, this is like at the point in the evening where you've come home and you know what is going to be for dinner, and you're like, all right, well, here we go. Here comes dinner. Here's the rest of my evening. I'm going to just make it through. Is that mean to say?
I'm waiting for Andrew just to shit on it more.
Well, I was actually the next song in before I had started to settle in, and then I was just like, dear God, what is happening? Kind of like okay, this is happening right now.
Fine then, we'll move on. Number 3, Something Against You.
It's kind of hard for me to differentiate. I did take notes on it, but it's hard for me to differentiate between all of the songs. Other than Vamos, Oh My Golly.
Yeah. We'll get to some of the great fun. But I think this one stands out too because it's unintelligible vocals because they're run through a guitar amp cranked all the way up.
Yeah. So it was kind of cool. Like they had the I don't give a shit mentality, it sounds like, when they were doing their stuff. And maybe it was just released at a time where the world was ready for this.
And the world said yes.
They said, Black Francis, we need some more of it.
It's not something that I would willingly listen to in my own free time. But I feel like a lot of these songs have a very spur of the moment feel. I feel like they could have been written in a matter of minutes. Not to be shitting on the song, but to be saying that it sounds like something that they would have just kind of jammed on and be like, all right, this is cool. Let's record this.
So it's got that organic feel.
Sure.
These songs would be found at Whole Foods.
Way overpriced. next to the asparagus water.
Speaking of overpriced, it's actually on Amazon Prime streaming for free.
Yeah. I know because I stole Angela's password for it and listened to it for the second time through. Yeah. Okay. Here's compliment number one. I'm gonna give this a tuna fish melt compliment sandwich, as in only one compliment surrounded by a ton of not compliments. I feel like if I were living in an area where I was having a little meet and greet with a whole bunch of the new neighbors, and I wanted to show how musically educated I am and my tastes are diverse, I would put on one of these guys throughout the night in the party mix. But I wouldn't do the two popular ones, Gigantic or Where's My Mind. Be like, it's like a deeper cut. Be like, oh wow, yeah, this guy actually, he listens to Pixies, but he's not picking like the top ones. I wouldn't play like a top 40 Billboard hit stuff.
Right. So maybe you'd pick something like, I don't know, maybe number 4, Broken Face.
Yeah, I mean, it's only a minute and 30 seconds, so, that's not a lot of time to commit to in case a lot of people hate it. A minute and 30 seconds is enough for you to be like, yeah, what? I think I need to go refill my drink.
Like, yeah, I could make a beer run out in the fridge.
Yeah. Yeah, right? I'll be back. And then you see Carl, who you haven't seen in a long time from high school, and you're catching up with Carl. And before you know it, that minute 30 is over, so...
Yeah, but in that minute 30, you could instead have enjoyed a song about both incest and disfigurement.
Yeah. But we talked about this in the Paul Simon episode about how like the lyrics are the last thing that we ever understand. But I made a point for this album to really listen closely to the lyrics, and I did not get any closer. I could understand anything. I think the only reason why I like Gigantic was because I understood Gigantic. That's all I heard.
They've got a good catch for that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
On which one?
Gigantic.
Oh, which we've moved on to? Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
we skipped. Yeah.
Would it help you to know what Gigantic's about?
Oh, we've talked enough about this. I think we should move on.
Would it help you to know what Gigantic's about?
I would love to know. I thought about looking up the lyrics, but I figured it'd be better to go into this not knowing them. So please, enlighten us.
Anyone want to take a stab?
Hell yeah. Andrew?
It's penis. It's penis.
David?
I'm going to say that how America is competitive with every other country in the world. Maybe they wanted to have not Gigantic.
All right, you were wrong.
Come on, Gigantor's cousin Gigantic.
No, but Andrew, you were there. You just didn't specify which kind.
Gigantic dicks. It's about big dicks.
Yeah, but it's specifically about a black one.
Oh, okay.
Black Francis?
No, Black Francis is, if you did not know, please look this up now, super white.
Yeah. Okay, so continue, please.
So I'm Googling Black Francis.
It's about...
You're going to be on an NSA search list now because you've been Googling Gigantic, Big Dick, Black Francis.
This cannot be the person that...
Yeah, he's like bald and he's pretty chunky.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like-
that's him.
What?
Like if Moby and Bruce Valanche had a kid.
Sure.
Man, I was not expecting
okay.
that. Okay.
Give us the backstory on Gigantic.
Yeah, that's it. That's literally it.
But well, okay, make up a backstory. Why would you write a song like this?
Because you appreciate something. Why would you write a love song?
I don't know. Yeah.
All right, losing David's interest. Let's move on.
No.
Number 6, River Euphrates.
I think I was still on the Gigantic high. Oh boy, this is now that I know what the song's about. Yeah, I was still kind of humming the.
Would you say that Gigantic was still pounding through your head?
It was rattling around in there, if you know what I mean.
Kind of through that skull?
Yeah. So I don't really remember much of River Euphrates, other
Are
than.
you serious, guys? This is like one of my favorite songs on the album.
I thought this
Okay,
one was
is
kind of
this-
flat and not particularly memorable. Probably because it was sandwiched between Gigantic and Where's My Mind, which is kind of
Yeah.
the two monsters of the album, I suppose.
So
By monsters, you mean the most low-key, radio-friendly
Well,
ones?
the most
But-
kind of like radio-friendly songs that
Oh, so
Yeah.
literally the second part of what I just said.
yes.
this is your compliment sandwich within the middle of the album. Gigantic, nice compliment. River Euphrates, yeah, like, low quality baloney. And then Where's My Mind? Yeah, nice. Dave's Killer Bread.
You don't want to ride a tire down River Euphrates?
Pass. Hard pass.
Yeah. It sounds like that might be a river where you get swimmer's itch out of, even though it's a river.
All right, fine then. David, I just want you to know what it feels like to be in the position of critique and power.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Number 7, Where Is My Mind?
I just kept thinking about that last scene in Fight Club where the buildings are falling down, right? Isn't that where they put this in that film?
Hey, you found a movie that I'm doing for the blog.
You haven't seen?
You haven't
Oh,
seen
my
that?
God.
Oh my god.
Can I give you a major spoiler?
I don't.
It's a good
Oh.
movie. It's a good movie.
Oh, is that the spoiler?
Well, yeah. I was going to say something different, but I decided
I
that
probably
would be
know
really-
everything about this. This podcast is not about Fight Club.
Yeah. So what's the first rule of Where's My Mind?
It's on the radio.
Yeah.
Didn't you like the ethereal background vocals?
I thought it was interesting how they continued even though after the band had dropped out at the very end. Like super reverby. Definitely a song I'd listen to in a bar though. Like if I heard this live.
Okay, great.
Don't you feel like this is like an inner monologue soundtrack song? Like if you
Yeah, it was influenced by him swimming and a fish following him around.
how the hell
Hey, guys, I'm just going to throw this out there right now. He's a pretty fucking weird dude.
Yeah, we got that.
Okay. Because his name is Black Francis and he's the love child between Moby and Bruce Valanche and his name's Black
And
Francis.
he has a broken face.
What's
No,
his
but
deal?
this song definitely is a black sheep on the album. I feel like it sounds like it has way more production value than every other song.
Yeah, right? It was definitely a decade too early. Like at least 10 years too early.
Yeah, hearing this song, this was the only song that I had heard previously to listening to the whole album for this, and I definitely thought they were like a 90s band.
Yeah, I'm with you, Andrew. Like this is the one that I had heard before, but it had been a while. And when I heard that the album was out in 1988, I was like, oh, whoa, wow, that's actually pretty good for 1988.
Yeah, guys, they were barely a 90s band. Their last album before they broke up was from 93.
Oh wow. Have they ever done like a reunion
David's
tour?
smiling and is saying, and the world got a little bit brighter.
No. If we had to do like an album that I legit hated, I would have different things to say about it. Like I respect this, and just as I respect like speed metal, but I don't listen to it. Like I understand that there's some technical ability involved, and I respect that it is a craft in itself. It's just not my first choice. I don't like cotton candy. It doesn't mean that nobody should like cotton candy. I just think it has zero nutritional value.
Sugar's nutritious.
maybe that's how Black Francis got so big. He's a cotton candy guy. Maybe he's a banana Laffy Taffy guy. Gross.
Yep. Okay. To answer your question, though, they are reunited. They've had 2 albums in the last 2 years, but they do not have Kim anymore.
Oh, what happened to her?
Her and Francis.
Wait! Don't tell us. We should guess.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm already spilling the
Crap.
beans.
I think I read that they replaced Kim with Kim. Was that right?
They're like, guys, we need a new female vocalist in the band, but we don't want to have to learn any new names. So part of the prerequisite for her is she has to be named Kim. What if she spells it differently though? Like KYM?
It's the same.
Oh, okay.
They replaced her with another Kim when they reunited, but then they replaced that Kim with someone else who's not named Kim.
Well, that's disappointing.
So did they refer to her as not Kim?
Probably.
Hey,
I'd
not
like
Kim.
to think so.
Oh, I'm such a jerk.
Credited on all albums as not Kim.
Yeah. Well, still more credit than Harry Belafonte gives, right?
Yoon got it.
Tim got it. Yeah. If this were on vinyl, this would be first track on the second side or the last track on the first side.
I don't know because I didn't listen to it on vinyl.
I know, but if you were the guy who decided the vinyl side A, side B, it's track 7 of 13. So
I feel like starting one of the sides of a vinyl with Cactus would be kind of a flop.
Yeah.
I think it'd be a stronger start with Where's My Mind.
Yeah.
Although then again,
right, then.
By that point, you've bought the vinyl. You're familiar with this band. You know this shit's gonna get weird.
Yeah. But what if you accidentally started on side B? Because so many times when I listened to vinyls when I was younger, I just put it in the record player and never really looked to see side A, side B.
Well, that sounds more like user error.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not saying that it was anything but user error.
It's not up to them to arrange the songs to where if you accidentally can't use a record player, that it starts where you would want it to.
Ouch, I feel pretty beaten up.
Whoa,
about
guys,
that.
It's getting really heated in here.
I know, we need all right, let's calm down here and talk about Cactus. Adrian, tell me about Cactus.
It has a very abrupt ending.
Yes.
And I'm sure both by the looks on your faces, you were like, I'm so glad.
No, I think Cactus also got swept under the rug a little bit with being right after Where's My Mind.
Guys, it's about like a dude in prison who wants his girl to send him something that's covered in something of hers.
The Cactus?
But I didn't get that because I couldn't understand a goddamn lyric in this other than gigantic. That's the only thing.
And probably Where Is My Mind?
Yeah, but that was more like, Where's My Mind? So I got about half of it. Like he was eating oatmeal half the time.
Do you think he approaches? So I'm assuming then you imagine him in the studio approaching his recording sessions, kind of like you singing along to a song you only know the chorus of,
which is like every song. Yeah.
Where my mind.
But think about it. If you're a lyricist, that's like the easiest way out. You know, you never really have to be held down on it until you release the album and write in the album liner all the lyrics. You just be like,
I don't know.
Oh, this is our style, bro. Yeah, if you don't understand, I'm not going to have to explain it to you because then you wouldn't understand my music. Because I'm sure that's how Black Francis sounds when he talks normally, right?
That's what I say to everyone about anything I release.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so no one liked Cactus. Wonderful. Let's move on. Tony's theme.
Ooh, okay. All the songs up to now, I enjoyed on some level. Tony's theme was the first one I was like, yeah, no, not on board with this.
You checking out?
For the sake of science, I stayed checked in, but very reluctantly. I did not like this one. This is Tony's theme.
This is actually the only song when I was listening through it the first time that I went back and listened to again when it was over. Not because I liked it, but because I was so goddamn confused.
Yeah.
Like, it's a song about a superhero named Tony.
Yeah.
It's called Tony's Theme.
Yeah. But I'm with Andrew. It's like when you see something and you have to take a double take, even though you don't really want to, or somebody's like, don't look, and you automatically look. It's like that same reaction where you're like, I don't want to, and subconsciously every fiber of my being says, don't do this, but I just did it.
Well, you guys, it's funny you would have that reaction to Tony's Theme. Because while you were listening to that song, you were probably thinking, oh my golly.
Oh, God. Up to this point in the album, I enjoyed everything. And then I got
Besides
to,
Tony's Theme.
Well, wait for it. And then I got to, oh my golly. And I was like, fuck. Oh my golly.
What was wrong? What was wrong with oh my golly?
I just felt like the guitar player sounded like he was drunk and couldn't play in time, and then it said oh my golly, and it was just it was like, you know, when you watch a movie that has 5 good actors and 1 terrible actor, and there's a scene with all 6 of them, you're really sucked into the movie and you kind of forget you're in your living room and you're watching a movie, and then
holy shit, David, you have used this analogy already.
But it is so pertinent to this. So then that 6th actor says something and they just botch it up, and your world comes crashing down around you, and you realize you're in your living room watching a really terrible actor try to compete with some of the greats.
Didn't you use this analogy? If you had misspoke there, I would just have cut and pasted you saying the exact same analogy on the David Simon Calypso episode.
Yeah. Why try to reinvent the wheel? It's an analogy that makes sense.
Nope. No votes of confidence.
I was watching your guys' faces and I was just like, oh shit. Yeah, I did not like this song.
But you have spent time in... Where did you spend time?
What do you mean, where did I spend time?
Most of the lyrics, besides the line, oh my golly, are in Spanish.
Yeah, yeah. I see what you mean. It really honestly sounded like a guy named Francis Black was eating oatmeal trying to sing Spanish in Spanish. So I didn't dig into it. Vamos I listened to a little more closely, but we'll get to that.
Right.
We'll get to it.
I feel like Oh My Golly and Vamos would have been the songs that they recorded last after they were like polishing off all of the beer that they had brought in for recording time. And they were just like, fuck it, let's just go.
Yeah. I bet nobody knew that Black Francis could speak Spanish. And after they hit the bottom of that keg and they were just so sick and tired of drinking whatever, Red Stripe or whatever they were drinking at the time, he's like, oh guys, check this out. Check this out.
And then which one came out? Oh My Golly or Vamos?
I feel like they were simultaneously recorded in parallel universes, brought together. Probably Oh My Golly first, and then as that beer finally kicked in, Vamos came out.
How did you feel about their choice to leave in some of that studio banter?
I kind of like that.
After Oh My Golly.
It was interesting, but I couldn't follow it. I was like, what the hell's going on?
In some releases of the album, this is actually a separate song. That interlude where they're talking is just a separate track.
Having listened to it a lot, what are they talking about?
Kim leaving the room to like go outside for some reason and telling people not to touch her stuff, and then Black finishing her line with or you'll fucking die.
I don't know either of them, and I have very little exposure, but I feel like I'm going to take Kim's side on this. Like, she probably had to say, don't touch my shit every time she left because Black Francis was batshit crazy.
I don't know what bands you've been in, but I'm pretty sure if you had sat in on bands Andrew and I at least have been in together, you would have heard people telling Andrew to fucking die.
I don't know about that. I don't know what you're talking about. Actually, back on that note, that was a thought that I had while listening to this album, that a lot of their stuff guitar-wise and partially vocally as well in some spots sounded like if we took all of the shit I did in band practice just to be obnoxious and all of the shit you did in band practice just to be obnoxious and crammed it into an album, it would be a lot like this.
You know what? I was actually thinking of you when I was picking this album as well, because I knew you would appreciate the intentional annoying feel that it had.
Yeah, I picked up on that.
It's like
All right, well then,
it's like
speaking of being intentionally annoying, as I will not interrupt David and let him finish.
Oh, that's okay. It's like when you have that band member where everybody's trying to tune and they just keep noodling, like playing really loud and just won't shut up. It's like they recorded all of those tracks, and like everybody took a day doing.
I
that.
would implore
like,
you to go into the past and visit a band practice where Andrew's there.
Oh shit! Is this sitting too close to home? I only didn't do that because I got yelled at so much early enough in my career that like I was dead silent when people would tune. Shit,
Vamos.
Was I hitting the nail on the head there? Shall we move on? Awkward pause. Pregnant with triplets pause.
And Andrew and I are just staring each other down.
But I can't tell if you're looking at each other because all our cameras make it look like we're looking at her. Whatever.
Well, when you're talking, I'm staring at you.
Does this feel fancy?
Yeah, how it pops back and forth to whoever's talking.
This is the future we're in right now.
Yeah.
For the 4th or 5th time, Vamos.
Yeah, it's the longest song of the album too. It just kept going, and I was like,
Yeah, this is actually a redone. It's a re-recorded version of Vamos, which was originally on their mini LP before this, and that version was 2 minutes shorter.
They felt like it needed more annoying.
Yeah, they actually, what they added to the song on this version was just more guitar noise.
Wow, so I wasn't even wrong.
It's like a joke where they have a repeating line that's not funny in the beginning, but after saying it for the 18th time, it finally gets funny. Oh god! I appreciated that they tried to cater to our brethren from south of the border, not intentionally, but I don't know. It was kind of because I couldn't understand any of the lyrics other than gigantic. When I finally realized it was in Spanish, I was a little relieved because I was like, man, I think I'm losing it at this point. Like
I have some bad news for you, buddy.
Uh-oh.
Only, I think about half the lines are in Spanish.
Oh no! Oh my god!
So no one was a fan of the random guitar noises in the middle of the song?
I can appreciate it, but I prefer to be on the producing end of random guitar noises.
It's not that I don't like it or don't appreciate it. It's not my thing.
So I'm going to interrupt real quick. I think Andrew and I are both wondering, what were you just staring at on your ceiling?
Oh man, I've been doing that a lot in my office recently. So like, if I'm on the phone, I'm staring at one of three things. Oh, okay. How about you guess? I'm looking. Okay, there's a window right in front of me too, but I can't see out the window. I'm not in a room without a window. Oh, there's my Operation Ivy plug. Boom! Said I couldn't do it.
Oh my god, were you waiting for that?
No. I've been thinking the whole time. Okay, I'm looking at tiki lights.
Oh.
I don't notice that I'm doing it. I used to.
All right then.
Okay, side story, real fast. When my brother and I were in our first real band outside of high school, that with some other guys, and we first started singing like harmonies and stuff. Because we were younger, we had higher voices than everybody else in the band, so we could sing higher harmonies. But we would always look up to sing the really high notes. And so one time, I didn't realize we were doing it, but the piano player called us out. He's like, "What are you guys looking at?" And we're like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Well, anytime you guys sing harmonies, you're always looking up at the ceiling." I don't know whether that's like a subconscious embarrassment that as a male you have to sing a high note, or it was just like a reaction.
You were looking up at the notes you wanted to hit.
I'll do my best not to look up anymore because that's got to be distracting. Or
I'm amazed.
I'm amazed.
Yeah.
This also starts with a little bit of chat.
I actually
sometimes I like that.
Yeah, I like when bands include that. It makes it more sort of organic feeling.
Except when it's like totally staged. I like the organic studio banter.
Yeah, when it happens to be rolling and they catch a gem.
Yeah. Face to Face put out an album with the song Disconnected, which is like one of their big ones, and they had some fake studio banter, and they're like, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna say it right now. There's no chance in hell we're gonna put this song on our album, and then it goes straight into the song. I was like, oh come on, that's totally staged studio banter. Whereas I Am Amazed felt a little better. See, Adrian, that's a compliment.
Well, and even if this was staged, it's like a story that she's telling, so it's not like banter or like them being witty with each other. I mean, it's her talking about a teacher that was having sex with girls at her school.
I wish I would have looked up all the lyrics because there's so much I missed on this album. I listened to it twice, 2 times through. Twice, not once.
I'm glad we're really nailing down what twice means.
Dos tiempos. Yeah. Dos veces, I mean.
Well, I mean, it doesn't matter if you knew what she was talking about because the song is not even related.
To what? Itself or anything else on the album?
To the story. It's just like 3 verses of disconnected nonsense.
I feel like most of this album is verses of disconnected nonsense.
You guys had such a richer listening experience understanding the words. I just heard 3 words of somebody with eating oatmeal in their mouth disconnected.
Well, I mean, I have the advantage of having had this album in my brain for, what, like probably 12 or 13 years?
Yeah. How often do you listen to it?
No, I'm not very anymore.
Yeah. But like when you first started, was it like on...
I listened. This was on heavy rotation.
Like weekly?
More than that.
Hourly?
Well, it'd be possible because this album is very short.
Yeah. But now that you've kind of like, it's come back into your life, do you feel like you're going to put it on higher rotation?
Yeah, actually, since I started listening to this for the podcast, I have all week been listening to all of the rest of their discography and getting back into it.
That's kind of nice though, right?
Yeah, it's rediscovering your past.
I didn't really have much else to say about it.
Enough about all that fulfillment.
What do you think the purpose of having the banter is? I know, like Andrew was saying, it's nice to have the genuine banter, but why would you put that in an album? Because that's not something you can replicate in a live show.
You're asking this band why they made a choice.
Black Francois? He's got to have an answer, right?
I think it was just kind of a random choice. They were like, hey, let's put some banter in. Like, I think it would be a cool idea.
Is it filler?
Would you really accuse them of putting filler in?
Oh, boy. Yeah. They would have just done 3 more verses of random guitar noise.
I mean, if you wanted to accuse anything of being filler, it might be the extended middle portion of Vamos.
Yeah. Where they're like, guys, we got to hit at least 32 minutes, and we're at 30 minutes right now. We need 2 more minutes.
We can't legally call this a full length.
We need 2 more minutes.
All right, well, after all that fun, we get to close out with Brick is Red. Not
something you would want to use as a template for proper grammar.
Okay, just throwing shots left and right.
I'm not even going to talk about the music. I'm just talking about the song title here. This is something that you would bring into your 2nd grade English class and say, students, how would you make this a proper sentence? Brick is red.
The brick is red.
Mm-hmm. Very good.
Or that brick is red. Or David's brick is red.
Or gigantic brick is red. Oh my golly, brick is red.
Did no one think this was an interesting choice for an album closer? Because it was like pretty chill.
If Where Is My Mind is the closer on side A, Brick is Red closing side B, makes sense.
I don't know. I feel like closing an album with a song that's so much more low key than all of the rest of the album is kind of a strange decision. Because, I mean, the rest of the album is just kind of like up here and over here and, you know, zig and zag and all over the place. And then it just chill and then drop out.
Well, I mean, how many times have you seen, like a lively band end their encore set with, like, an acoustic version of one of their songs?
Oh, God, I hate that.
Do you really?
Yeah, I leave if a band encores with acoustic, I'm out.
Yeah,
what?
I hate that.
Yeah, I don't stick around for that.
You get so pumped for the encore, and then they bust out an acoustic, and you're just like, what the crap is this?
Oh.
Yeah, I'm riding that, and then they come up with an acoustic, and I'm like, well, my energy's dead. I'm going to go home now.
Oh, man. I will disagree with that. I mean, while I can see that it's a time and a place for everything, the shows that I've been to where they've ended with acoustic, it's been like going into the hot tub after running a marathon. I know you wanted to say it.
I saw that look. I
Yeah.
saw that look.
Yeah.
I dare you.
No references in this. Yeah, but you get what I'm saying though. Like, I don't know. I thought this was a decent closer for the album.
Oh, qualifier.
No, I don't think it needs to be qualified. I'm saying it. Where's My Mind is like a slower song, where Brick is Red is a good way to end it too.
I mean, they've taken you on this journey, and now they're bringing you down, and they're laying you softly into bed.
When you put a kid to sleep, you don't sing Gigantic or Vamos. You sing Brick is Red, right?
I think you would have the "you fucking die" interlude conversation.
Yeah, but you have to whisper when you sing it, so it could sound really creepy to a kid.
As all three of us contemplate demonstrating how that would go.
Yeah. If you're not a red dot on a Google map before, you are now.
Does the government track with Google Maps?
No, I think they use Bing. Bing Maps.
How did? Oh, yeah. I'm not going to get into it.
No,
you know what?
No, you brought it up. You brought it up.
No.
You got to dig into it.
Real big question. Where the hell did Microsoft get all of their mapping from?
Google Planes.
Why did they call? Yeah. Yeah. Microsoft is always like 3 steps behind the current tech innovator. So instead of the Google car, it was probably just like a guy with a Polaroid camera and a fanny pack.
And they probably called it Car Explorer.
Although actually what I've noticed with a lot of the Bing maps is a lot of the imaging is so much older than the Google Maps, even though Bing is technically more recent.
Yeah, it's probably cheaper to buy someone else's previous
versions.
Yeah.
Snapshots.
Oh, I'm going to hit real deep here. Do you think Bing has the trade towers still in New York City?
Wow.
Shots fired. Planes fired? Oh, man.
Oh,
now
man.
I'm digging deep.
This is going downhill fast.
David, I want you just to look behind you and wave up to that NSA camera in the corner.
Yeah. Oh, boy. Yeah. I don't even remember how we got on that.
Hey, Andrew, a spot just opened up for you as honorary co-host.
Yeah. Something happened to our other guy. He's in the gulag.
You don't leave this podcast by choice.
It's like a gang where you get initiated coming in and then getting out, you get initiated to death.
The only difference is that I'm not the one that kills you when you try to leave.
It's self-inflicted. Get me out of here. If I have to listen to Vamos one more time, I'm going to take care of my own life.
Okay. Since you bring that up, do you think that the U.S. should consider using some Pixies songs as musical torture?
Not Pixie songs, no.
I don't think they're good enough at being awful to be torture.
Yeah. I think Creed and Nickelback would have a better chance at that.
Oh man!
Unless
yeah, but they've had more
psychological
singles.
torture for like frat houses. Like, bro, this is my song, bro. Bro. Here, bro. Yeah. No, I don't think they could use it. I'll say it again. I didn't love the album, but I definitely have a lot of respect for it. And I'm glad I was introduced to it because I understand its significance throughout progression of music. But it's just not something I'm going to put on heavy rotation. My once an hour rotation.
David, I chose this album in part because I recognize you really like vocal harmonies.
Uh-huh.
And there's a lot of vocal harmonies here.
That's why I liked the songs that Kim Deal sang. Cause
well, I mean, they do have a lot of harmonies all over the album.
Yeah, that's true. I felt like the ones that she sang. At first, I thought it was 2 female vocalists singing backup vocals and stuff, but I guess I was wrong. I guess Black Francis can really get up there. He looks at the ceiling when he sings. No, I like that part, and I think that's why I gravitated to certain songs more than the others. And
All
I
right.
appreciate that you chose a song that has good vocal harmonies on it, because that makes a much more enjoyable listening experience for me.
I'll just throw a couple more things about the album at you, either factual or opinion-based then.
Do we have to guess which one's which?
Maybe to sway your lasting impression of what you're going to walk away with. All of the instruments were audible.
Hold on,
Is
what?
that a fact or opinion?
That is a fact.
I feel like that's an opinion.
All of the instruments were clearly defined. Like you weren't like, oh, I can't really pick out the bass in the mix at all.
Yeah.
So that's a plus one.
But I've heard bands where all the instruments are easily discernible and it was garbage. So I don't think that necessarily makes...
Well, not the band Garbage though, because they're actually really well produced and they're still sounding great to this day.
Okay. I'm trying to think of a band other than Garbage. But yeah, that doesn't necessarily make a great album. Or discernible instruments, a good album does not make, if we're going to use Brick is Red grammar.
Instruments, hearable. Well, this is definitely their lowest quality production.
And I listened to the remastered version.
Well, I mean, but that's simply them, bumping volume up pretty much at this point, and compression. But their album after this, I believe, had 4 times the budget.
Holy cow.
As this one.
Do you know what the budget was on this one?
What I found was this one was $10,000.
Wow.
And so their follow-up album to this, Doolittle, was, as what I could tell, was about $40,000.
Yeah.
Cool.
10,000 though they got a really good album for $10,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially like that's in 88.
Yeah, right? That's a lot of hard... I mean, it's not like they had digital Pro Tools where they could do all that. That's a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kudos to the sound engineers. Like, that's kind of like, an underappreciated ability, right?
Yeah, and what I found about his part in it is that his fee was only $1,500.
So if you only got $1,500 for that album, that's...
Are you now wondering where did the rest of the money go?
No, I mean, because that's just the engineer. I mean, there are a lot more costs that are incurred in recording than just hiring the engineer. Like the engineer that does like the final mix down versus the engineer who does like the recording. That it takes a lot of time, and you have to have a really good ear for that to turn it out well. Like, the more I think about it, the more I realize they got a pretty good deal. Although, okay, adjusting for like inflation, how much would a $10,000 album be in 1988? Would that be super expensive? Here, while you're doing that, I'm going to look up like top songs of 1988. That was good last time.
Today, that budget would have been about $20,000.
Still though, that's a pretty damn good album for that.
Yeah, 20,000 for a major album, especially one that had gone gold. I mean, that's really good.
That's probably why they got 40 for the next one.
Yeah.
I would encourage you to go seek out their following release at least, just to see what their change is, because you can tell this album is easily their most ridiculous album.
So are the other albums tame? More tame?
There's a quality to them. It's kind of like umami, right? You can't really explain it.
Yeah, but that's frustrating for anybody that hasn't experienced it.
Yep.
That doesn't help us, Adrian.
Well, then I would encourage you to seek out their follow-up album, Doolittle, and form your own judgment.
Figure it out for myself. All right, top 10 songs in 1988. Number 10, Roll With It by Steve Winwood. Number 9, Hands to Heaven by Breathe. Number 8, Could Have Been by Tiffany. Number 7, Heaven is a Place on Earth, Belinda Carlisle. Number 6, So Emotional by Whitney Houston. Here is where we get into the real meat and potatoes. Number 5, Sweet Child of Mine by Guns N' Roses. Number 4, Never Gonna Give You Up by Rick Astley. Number 3, Got My Mind Set on You by George Harrison. Number 2, Need You Tonight by In Excess. And number 1, Faith by George Michael.
Wow.
And then number 0, Vamos by the Pixies.
Man, I would expect that Gigantic would have really edged all of those out for the number one spot.
Let me see if the Pixies have any. Oh, nope. 0 of 0. Oh, boy. The number 100 was...
0 of 0 on Billboard?
I think
Well, I just did Control F.
this
Apple
album
F.
in looking up the accolades for Surfer Rosa, number 1 in 2006 for the best albums of the 80s.
A little retroactive
That's like
awarding going on.
a posthumous award.
Rolling Stones had him at 317 for the 500 greatest albums of all time. This album. Interesting.
Well, I'm glad they were able to be on such a, very focused, small list.
I want to see what the number 1 album of the 500 albums of all time is.
It's going to be something really stupid.
It starts you at 500, so I got to go all the way down to... Here we go. Never mind. There's a link I can skip.
This portion of the podcast brought to you by people figuring out computers.
Yeah.
Oh, see, also,
the Beatles
all-time top 1,000 albums.
Oh, God. Let's go through it one by one. Oh, number 14, Beatles Abbey Road. One of Adrian's favorites. Miles Davis, Kind of Blue for number 12. That's a good choice. Beatles White Album for number 10. Here we go. Meat and potatoes. Fuck. The Beatles Rubber Soul, number 5. Another good one for Adrian. Bob Dylan for number 4. Oh, guess what? The Beatles Revolver for number 3.
Of course.
Yeah.
Why not?
Beach Boys Pet Sounds for number 2. Oh, God damn it. Number 1 is The Beatles Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band.
Oh, yeah, that's
You
my
had
favorite
to know
album.
it was going to be a Beatles album.
I think Adrian just passed out.
Yep. All right. So I guess this is it, guys. This is where I quit doing the podcast.
Because the Beatles are the number 1 of all time.
Which kind of brings up just a random question.
Huh.
Would you say that Pixies are possibly on par with being the Beatles of noisy and alternative music?
If the Beatles were on their drug-fueled stage and 30 years younger, yes.
Wow, brevity is to be commended.
Yeah, I think so.
And in Andrew's key, what the fuck is wrong with my boy? In Andrew's keys, it's seen and not heard.
Which is great for an audio podcast.
Indeed.
Yeah, Andrew, if you could just look silently into the camera a little harder so we can pick that up.
I do my best.
We'll interpret. Yeah.
I mean, you're asking if they would be the Beatles of noisy nonsense, then sure.
Like, are they as influential as the Beatles were to whatever the fuck they influenced?
Yeah, actually, I could hear a lot of where some later alternative rock bands and kind of the noisier bands could have gotten picked up some influence from this album in particular, maybe from the whole band as I was listening to it. Most particularly, something that stuck out to me is I heard a lot of vocally Modest Mouse as being someone who might have picked up some influence from this, at least vocally, because I felt like it was on the same plane of what is happening right now with some of their vocal nonsense.
Now that you say that, like, I see that for sure. No, seriously though, like, Modest Mouse is like the genealogical record.
Yeah,
they're
this is the grandchild?
No, I'd say more like the love child, not the grandchild.
Okay, if Pixies are the grandparent and Modest Mouse is the child, direct descendant, who is the grandchild?
Mars Volta.
You didn't even have to think about that.
Nope.
Probably because it took
Nope.
me what seemed like 4 years to get that question out.
Yep. But I knew what you were going to ask about halfway through, and I was like, oh, dude, it's got to be Mars Volta.
Let's do a little research, shall we?
Uh-oh. Okay, if you uncover some sort of crazy fact about this, it's going to just shatter my world right now.
I think I know where you're going.
Yeah, checks out.
What's that?
It just checks out. Did you know that Modest Mouse formed in 1992?
I knew where you're going.
That's insane.
Yeah, they've been together a long time.
Oh, strongly influenced by groups including Pixies.
Yeah.
Okay, Mars Volta, same thing.
They feel like their inspiration comes more from like experimental rock.
Like if the Pixies and Rush had a kid. Band kid.
This is
That would be
so
Mars
hard to
Volta?
follow.
What's that?
You are making this very hard to follow.
So Mars Volta would be the love child between the Pixies and Rush.
Well, the stopwatch says we've been going for far too long.
Oh.
What are your closing statements before court is adjourned? I will David you. I'll David both of you. Would you introduce this album to someone in the context of this is important in some way, you should listen to this?
I think it depends on the person and their preferences. Like my niece actually listens to a lot of weird shit, so I'd probably hand this album off to her and be like, hey, you might be into this. But I think for most people, I might just sit silently and let it slide.
I think having listened to it, I would introduce somebody to it. This is culturally a launching point for a lot of music that was very influential a decade later, and is still seen as one of the in the genealogical tree of music where a new branch was formed, and this is like at that union point between the branches as music branched out. I'd say understand that this doesn't have to be your favorite band ever, but understand also that what they have contributed to music as a whole is pretty undeniable.
Yeah, I feel like someone who is more into like punk rock or alternative rock might have more of an appreciation for it, as opposed to someone who's maybe just into like heavy metal or like my grandmother's like strictly jazz and classical.
Barbra Streisand.
Yeah.
You guys didn't know Barbra Streisand had a side project where she was just screaming incoherently into a mic.
Oh, God. I still will take Barbra Streisand over Yoko Ono any day.
All right, guys. Well, I now know how it feels to have people shit on something that has shaped you in an important way.
I wish you would choose an album that was garbage so you could actually understand what real shitting is, because I felt like I was pretty nice to this.
And David, I can't wait to hear what you come up with next.
Oh, man.
And Andrew, I can't wait to hear what you come up with first.
Yeah, still struggling with that. I'll find something eventually. I gotta dig deep.